On today's show, is Jack our favorite nuclear baby? Can The Rock take on Tom Cruise? And does Infinity War count as a summer release? All that and more on today's Movie Talk, starting right now. Box office, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta get those Spider-Man pajamas.
Those Spider-Man pajamas, Spider-Man underoos are all great.
Iron
Hello,
Spider,
everyone, and welcome to Collider Movie Talk. On this very special episode, I am joined by my trusty associates, Mark, Reilly, and John Rocha, and we are going to be doing all things box office, all things summer movie release dates. Going to give you guys a little primer here on this lovely Monday morning as to what to expect at the box office, at the movie theater near you for the rest of the summer. I know you guys have a lot of movies that you're excited to check out. Is there one summer movie that you know is coming up that stands out above the rest, or is everybody just mad with Infinity War craziness and you can't see past it?
Well, I mean, yes, Infinity War. I cannot wait. That's a big movie, I hear. It's going to be really big and really exciting. Deadpool 2 is the one that I'm really excited about the most because of that trailer I saw.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. There's something about that thing. They're making fun of everything. They're setting up X-Force. He's already doing the Wonder Woman, Wakanda, and Gal Gadot is going on and going, hey, that's my pose. This thing is ready to pop for me.
So Reilly, looking at two, at least they used to be May release dates.
Yeah.
Now Avengers Infinity War moved up to April 27th. Rocha, the one movie this summer.
Mission Impossible.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm going insane for that movie right now. I can't wait to see it. Just that preview of Henry Cavill going, I'm like, oh, I'm in. I'm so in. Let's make this happen. And Cavill doing the same thing kind of with the joke video that he did about shaving his mustache.
He's the best.
He's all in on this stuff. And Tom Cruise coming back the way he has in the previews look fantastic. The trailers rather look fantastic. So if you're going to, Infinity War is obviously number one, but for me, Mission Impossible, been a fan of every single one of those films except the second one. I'm looking forward to it.
I like the second one, at least the beginning, because I like to pretend that I can climb a rock like that. So what we're going to do on this show today is run you guys through each month of the box office, but we have groupings that our graphics team was kind enough to generate for us. And once we get those groupings, we're going to talk about them. And then when we get into the month of, say, May, which we're lumping in Avengers Infinity War in because it was supposed to come out in May, April 27th. Disney can do what they want. We're still considering it a summer movie. We're going to run through what we think is going to be the box office winners of each month, move on to the next month, and at the end, hopefully, we'll all settle on the Jason Statham shark movie, The Meg, being both the box office winner and the Oscar winner that it's destined to become. So our first grouping does kick off with Infinity War. That is April 27th now. And then Deadpool 2, another Mark Reilly pegged classic. That's going to be May 18th. Solo, A Star Wars Story is going to be the next weekend, May 25th. Ocean's 8 then takes us into June. June 8th is that release date, and we have the next week, The Incredibles Part 2. Finally, that franchise coming back into theaters after its initial movie came out way back in 2004. So I think Avengers Infinity War is obviously the one that we think is going to be the box office winner for May. And when we say box office winner, we're talking about the entire run. So even though Han Solo comes out at the end of May, we would put the total domestic gross of Avengers Infinity War versus the total of the Solo Star Wars story. So they'll probably both finally be out of theaters by the end of the summer. That's what we stack it up against. Rocha, do you see any movie being able to upset Infinity War from a box office perspective?
No, I don't think so. I think because of what we saw with Black Panther and Wakanda, this isn't one of those situations where people went in mass to see a film that in the end wasn't that good. Like BVS made the most money of DCEU, X-Men Last Stand made the most money of that first trilogy, but this isn't that kind of situation. People went to see Black Panther and had a great time and went to see it over and over and over again. And to me, that bodes well for Infinity War. It's a great way to lead you in, and it tells you how deep the well is for the hunger for good Marvel movies. So I know people are going to go multiple times to see this film.
It also shows me that just from a worldwide standpoint, Reilly, is that Marvel and Disney really wanted to get that box office opening that's going to be a cumulative. They want to crush Pangea, okay? They're not just going after one continent. They're going after the entire globe here. So they want they want some symmetry with the release date, but also maybe allowing Han Solo to have a little bit of extra breathing room. Do you see that paying off when Solo comes out?
Yeah, absolutely. Giving as much time for Solo to kind of capture the box office is I think, first and foremost what they did. I just also noticed that the embargo for Infinity War is lifting like the 23rd at 10 p.m. social media
that happens
reactions.
to be when the premiere is that I got invited.
Yeah, then the 24th, that next morning, the reviews are out. And as somebody on Twitter mentioned, this is kind of what they did for The Last Jedi, what they do for Star Wars movies. I think a big part of their worldwide shift from domestic a week back debut, there's going to be a lot of secrets. There's going to be a lot of spoilers flying around online. We want to be able to, like, that's what I love about Disney is they go, hey, there's going to be a lot happening, so we're warning you right now. That's why we're putting these movies out worldwide, because people are going to go on Twitter and start talking. Yeah. So they want to do that. They want to protect Solo. They want to just have a great debut, and this thing is going to open huge. It's going to be people talking about it. It might affect some of the Deadpool box office, if we're being honest.
You're right, and I think it especially was going to affect that. Maybe that's why they wanted to stay on that May 4th, but I do think spoilers played a big factor into why they wanted to come out at the same time everywhere, because there might be big spoilers in this. You might even have a couple characters eat it, and you certainly don't want to know that going into it, although we suspect that. So because we're so confident in it being the breadwinner for at least the month of May, if not the entire summer, which we'll get into our overall summer predictions at the end of this program, do you guys want to put a number on what it's going to do opening weekend? Do you think that it can take down the current king of Wakanda? Do you think it can take down Avengers opening weekend, or even get into The Last Jedi's opening weekend domestic, which was $215 million?
I think absolutely.
Yeah.
I think absolutely it will do that. I would be surprised if it doesn't come out as the top opening weekend box office earner ever. Like, I would be
You think it's going to beat Force Awakens at $250 million?
I would be closer to 300 in my mind if it was possible.
Whoa, hot
If
take.
it was
Hot
possible.
take.
Just got
take.
scorching hot.
I'm just saying,
Yikes.
if every theater ran a screening for 24 hours for that whole weekend, I guarantee you it would get 300 million. People are going to go insane for this movie, and the anticipation for it is incredible. The trailers have been great. We hear no kind of controversy coming out from behind the scenes, so everything is really powerful, and people want to know who's going to live, who's going to die, if that's even going to happen. Because we don't know who's going to live, who's going to die. We hear ideas, we hear illusions, but we don't know for sure. So I think people want to go, and then they want to go and savor it and see it over and over again. So if it was possible, it would get to 300 million, but I think it will absolutely come close, if not beat the 250. Absolutely.
Reilly, I'll do one of two things for you. I will either give you the keys to my Ford Fusion so you and Rocha can go to Vegas and ride this hot streak, or I will give you a straitjacket with which you can put him in because you think he's crazy for thinking anything can beat The Force Awakens, much less get to 300 million.
I mean, I'd like to put a straitjacket on him anyways.
Yeah, it's true.
But I'm not saying you're crazy, though. I think The Force Awakens opening weekend record is there for a reason. There was all this goodwill that Disney got the franchise. There was some goodwill going, we're going back. We're going to see the big three at the time. We thought we were going to see all three back on screen, Luke, Leia, and Han. So there was this long drought of Star Wars movies that led to this behemoth opening. But what Infinity War has is this, everybody wants to see them all on screen. We're coming off of Black Panther, as you said. I think 235 million is more along where I'm going. It won't go 250. And I don't think you're crazy. I think it could go there, but I think I got to temper that excitement a bit. 235 opening weekend is where I'm kind of landing.
These numbers have gotten so normalized now when we see over $200 million. I think people forget that, even though The Last Jedi critically or, the fans didn't receive it all the same way like it felt they did for Force Awakens, or at least as much so, Black Panther was universally loved and appreciated and still over $200 million, which is incredible.
Yeah.
I don't think a movie can get to 300 million because there is something to be said for that drought. Whereas great as Infinity War looks, you don't have that, we haven't seen this in so long feel. We just saw this 2 months ago with Black Panther. We just saw it 3 months before that with Thor Ragnarok. So I think it's a little, weighty to put expectations in the realm of Force Awakens, but I do think Last Jedi is clearly within reach, and I think this could do 220, 225. Opening weekend.
I respect my two esteemed colleagues, but they're the same ones who doubted my love of how much Black Panther was going to open at, and look what happened there. I was under Black Panther with 200. So, I mean, I'm telling you right now, this is going to happen. But I will say, Mark, you make a good point because Force Awakens came out during Christmas. And so that, a lot of people are off work. They have more time to go to these things, bring their whole family. I don't know if Avengers Infinity War is necessarily a family film. So that's where I think it might get a little undercut. It might not quite reach Force Awakens. But I think it'll be in contention.
I think that's why you saw those ads this past weekend as well that they've been running that have a little more of a family flavor. You get to see Groot as a teenager as opposed to oh no, is everybody going to die? Kind of, end of the world scenario. scenario.
Right.
So when we move on to Deadpool, which is May 18th, as far as that movie goes, the first Deadpool opened, and it was such a dramatic shift in the way people viewed R-rated movies, the way that people viewed that movie, the way that they viewed Ryan Reynolds as an action hero, and it did much better than the box office predictions for it, grossing over $120 million just domestic opening weekend. Deadpool's entire run, $360 million, nothing to sneeze at. So that versus Han Solo, which one's going to have the better box office there, Reilly?
Okay, so this is going to be a hot take here. I don't think Solo is going to open past 100 million. I don't think it's going to reach 100 million opening.
Scorching hot takes early on in the show.
I think it's going to. Yeah, I think it's going to get close. Wow. But I think that there is a little bit of Star Wars fatigue. We are coming off of The Last Jedi. Very divisive movie among the fans. Even though it opened huge, there was a lot of reasons why it opened huge. We were going to see Luke Skywalker in action. He was going to actually talk this time. There was a lot of things that we were looking. There was so much speculation. Who's Rey's parents? Snoke. All these things you get. With Solo, we've had a lot of behind-the-scenes drama. You add that into the reports of, is Aaron Wright going to really nail Han Solo? And then couple that with 6 months hasn't even passed between The Last Jedi and then all of the Star Wars conversation online. I think we're going to see just under, maybe 95 million opening for Solo. But in the end, I think Deadpool 2 will make more box office than Solo. Because
remember that straitjacket that I had you order for Rocha?
Yeah.
I'm just going to have you go ahead and fit
Put
yourself
that on?
in there.
I'll take it.
Look, I don't think you're crazy for thinking that Han Solo might underperform as far as what we expect a Star Wars movie to do. Keep in mind, Rogue One did around $155 million opening weekend domestically, and you could argue that is a harder movie to market than what Han Solo was, because when Rogue One came out, a lot of people were still like, hey, wait, why does Rey look different? Wait, are they building another Star Wars? Is this a sequel to Force Awakens? People clearly know the character Han Solo, and they know that this is a younger version of him. I think Donald Glover as Lando alone is going to get that movie over $100 million. I don't think it's going to do as well as Rogue One opening weekend, though. I just think we're in a different climate right now. So I think 120, 125, 130 might be a nice landing spot for Solo, especially because it's coming off Deadpool, having to go the weekend before. I don't think Deadpool is going to do as well as the first one did. I think Deadpool is going to do over 100 million or right around that $100 million mark, but I don't see it being the cultural phenomenon the first one was opening weekend. You see differently.
Well, I think, we've had a lot of controversy over the last few weeks with Deadpool 2, right? What do the screenings say? What is the real truth about people's reaction to the screenings? We're hearing positive things from these screenings, but for me personally, I have a little trepidation. I do. As I see this, it doesn't have the same kind of humor that I enjoyed about the first one. There's a little bit, at times, of a bit forced jokes. We talked about it with T. We were on Movie Talk one morning right after the trailer came out, and I loved the trailer, enjoyed the trailer, had a great time. But when I went back and rewatched it, I could see the points that T was talking about, some of the forced stuff. And so I wonder if that's not going to ring as true, as organically true for the fans as it did the first time. However, I think people will want to go see it in mass. And the reason Deadpool had so much legs afterwards is because people from word of mouth said it was great. So the people that were word of mouth are going to go on opening weekend as opposed to waiting 2 or 3 weeks later. So I think it'll hit 150, 160, maybe even 180 for Deadpool 2.
Wow.
But I do think Solo is 125. I think Donald Glover's a great point you bring up. I also think people want to go for curiosity's sake, and Star Wars fans will go. Even if it's terrible, they will go just to be able to talk about it, just to tear it apart, just to be able to talk about it knowledgeably. Star Wars fans will go, or to love it. And so I think there's a huge fan base that will go, make the decision, but they won't go back again. And maybe that's where, long run, it will not make as much money as Rogue One.
And we have not seen the full Lucasfilm Disney push for Han Solo yet.
Not yet.
They're going to. They're not going to release a movie and not put their full publicity force behind it. You're going to see the toys roll into theater. It's going to be May the 4th be with you, all that kind of stuff. You're going to see a whole lot of Star Wars content in the next couple months, and I think that's going to push it over that $100 million mark. If the movie opened tomorrow, I'd agree with you. The movie's going to open. It's going to have a marketing push that's going to be in the wake of Infinity War, so I don't think Han Solo has a lot to worry about from an opening weekend standpoint. But the overall domestic gross of it, do you think it's going to match Deadpool, or do you think Deadpool's going to be the better one with legs?
I said Deadpool. Absolutely. We'll have better
Going
legs.
Deadpool, and you're going Deadpool as
Deadpool
well?
2, yep. I
And
think it better legs. I think they're setting up X-Force. They're coming
Yep.
off of the high
Yep.
of the original. And I tend to disagree with you on the marketing we've seen so far. That trailer blew me away, and it has all the
Deadpool 2.
it has all the meta jokes. It has all the references to other superhero movies. And did you get that in slow motion? You know, that's the humor I saw from Deadpool, so I think it's going to be doing well.
Think y'all are great. Think you guys are knowledgeable.
Thank
great
you.
hair on the both of you.
Well,
I think
good.
Han Solo is going to outgross Deadpool 2. I don't think it's going to give Infinity War a run for its money, but I think it's going to outgross Deadpool 2. Or for no other reason, I get to look at stats, man. And Rogue One, again, arguably a harder movie to market than Solo Star Wars Story once we get the full team in place. Rogue One did did $500 million domestically. Deadpool 360 domestic. Great run for a movie like that, for an R-rated movie. It's another R-rated movie. This is a family adventure you can sell on the Star Wars name brand. Think Solo's going to do better, but Infinity War is our winner for May. A couple smaller movies that are coming out in May quickly. You got Life of the Party with Melissa McCarthy leading the way there. That's going up against Gabrielle Union in Breaking In, which I think is going to be better than people expect, because I saw the trailer for it, had no idea the movie's coming out. It's a good trailer. Looks like a fun suspense movie. And then you also have Show Dogs, which is a comedy with Will Arnett, and then you have Book Club that my mom is going to love. Why? Diane Keaton, Jane Fonda, and Candice Bergen. Any of those movies standing out to y'all?
Book Club. I like the
I
idea.
can see Riley
No.
and his lady and Cal having
Yeah.
a nice Chardonnay and enjoying Book Club.
Well, it stands out because I didn't know about this either, but you bring up the moms. This is the movie that's a movie that my mom will go see, and
And then she's going to call me afterwards. Did you know they had a Han Solo movie coming out? I just saw a
she'll
trailer
go.
for it.
Well, she'll say, there's a Han Solo movie out. I saw it. I don't understand. That's my favorite that my mom always does. Like, she sees a movie and I didn't get it. Okay, Mom. That one stands out because it's going to target another different audience. So there's going to get a nice little, maybe a nice little, $10 million opening for that with all our moms in attendance.
There we go. Rocha, any of those?
No.
We also have Overboard coming out May 4th, which is...
The
that'll
less we
disappear.
talk about that, the better.
Wow.
But-
That'll disappear.
Oh, God, those trailers have been terrible. And I love Anna Faris. The Melissa McCarthy one is interesting to me because she has been subsisting on some below level fare that people are still going to see her in, but it's not motivating her to make better films. And this bothers me a little bit because she is incredibly funny. But if you look at The Boss, you look at these other films that have come out since Bridesmaids, it hasn't quite gotten there. Even that Identity Thief one wasn't that good of a film. So, and the one she did with her with Susan Sarandon as her mom wasn't that great. So she's living on these films that aren't necessarily great films. And eventually that balloon of people loving Melissa McCarthy is going to pop. And I wonder if it's going to pop with this movie once and for all. And she'll have to go back to the drawing board and look at better scripts, better material, and take her time choosing the right project.
It's not going to pop permanently, because even if this movie comes out and isn't that good, she's going to ask the public, can you ever forgive me, with a movie called Can You Ever Forgive Me that comes out in October, I believe. And that's much more of a dramatic turn, but it could be an Oscar kind of thing and get her right back into the public eye. And I don't care if the guy's not working anymore. She can always play somebody who is in the White House, because she's so funny when she does that character on SNL.
Oh, yeah.
So we move on to our next grouping of movies. Actually, we continue this grouping of movies. Boy, was I drunk. I mean, just mistaken. It's early here on a Monday. We have Ocean's 8 that is coming out, of all places, June 8th. And then we have The Incredibles 2 kicking off June. Which one of these two movies do you guys like better?
Well, I mean, The Incredibles 2.
Okay.
Of course, Mark Ellis. I'm very interested to see how they do Ocean's 8, though. I mean, Gary Ross coming in.
Yep.
I know Soderbergh had a lot of input on this. It's kind of working in the same universe. I think there's going to be some Danny Ocean's references, the sister. I believe it's Sandra Bullock. That interests me a lot, but it's not going to hold up against everybody. I don't know about everybody, but I am looking at Incredibles 2, and I am so excited for that, because Pixar, what they always do very well are great sequels. They always do a great sequel. I mean, I thought Toy Story 3 was not going to be that great, and it comes out and it's arguably might be the best in the series. So for Brad Bird to return, to get the cast, to have the new characters coming in with Catherine Keener and Better Call Saul. Wait, I'm blanking.
Odenkirk?
Odenkirk, who's just tailor-made for this kind of franchise.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that movie. And the thing I saw at D23, just a snippet of a whole scene. It was hysterical. I can't wait.
The Incredibles seems to be the movie that's going to win the early half of June anyway, as far as box office goes. There's a movie we're going to get into in a little bit that might give it some competition. You think Incredibles 2 is going to be the better movie of the two, as well as box office?
Oh, you mean
draw?
quality-wise? Yeah, I think it will be the better movie of the two. I don't fault anything for Ocean's 8. It just feels a little bit like you're walking through territory you've already walked through, right? And you're doing it from a female perspective, which I think is great and interesting. And I'm going to see. I want to see what this box office is like, coming off of Wonder Woman, coming off of everything that's happened with the Me Too movement and all that's happening. I want to see what the power is now of women to go to this box office over and over again to support this material, and let's see how that plays out. But quality-wise, I just think Incredibles 2. Pixar rarely misses, and so people have been waiting for this for a long time. It was on our top 50 superhero films, way up there. So it is a very revered and loved film in the Pixar universe. So I think they took their time, put the attention to detail, and it's going to be very, very funny.
Yeah, some interesting counter-programming coming out the same weekend as The Incredibles is not only Superfly, you also have a movie that I think could be the sleeper hit of the entire summer, and that is Tag. Based on that first trailer, I just think it's something that everybody is going to want to see. Yeah. They're going to tell their friends about, oh yeah, these guys, they're adults, based on a true story. They play tag. It's got an A-list cast. I think Hannibal Buress is the breakout star of that movie. I think that entire movie is going to be hilarious, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to have legs as we get deeper into the summer, which if we show our next grouping, you're going to see the Jurassic World is also coming out in June. And then the next weekend, we have Sicario 2 Soldado, followed by July 4th. What better way to celebrate Independence Day than a Purge movie? And then 2 days later on that Friday, you have Ant-Man and the Wasp, another huge Marvel extravaganza. Jurassic World versus Incredibles 2 is what we're shaping up here. I think Sicario 2 is going to be a really good movie. Box office-wise, it's not going to compete with those two behemoths. Right. Which one's taking the cake, Reilly?
I'm gonna go Incredibles 2, still beating that. I know I want to factor in Jurassic World's opening weekend,
which was the rare to over 200 million.
Yes, where it's now up there, and then that thing had legs. But then I read there was a great article on Collider.com where they said Jurassic Park is not a franchise. They should have stopped after the first movie. I disagree, but he brought up a lot of good points. God, who wrote it? I want to say it's Chitwood. It was so great, and it got me thinking. It's like, how do you sustain... Jurassic Park is, by design, a one-trick pony. How many times can dinosaurs escape and eat people? And how many times can you change that up? I know Jurassic World did so well. It played a lot on the nostalgia, and you did a version of Hammond's story. We saw it to completion, so you kind of want to see what that happens. I don't know what's going to do Jurassic World 2. I don't know... Are they finally breeding these dinosaurs for war? I know they're trying to save the dinosaurs and get them off the island because of a volcano. So I'm very interested to see how our audience is going to respond to this. If there's a little franchise fatigue, it's still going to open gangbusters. I still think it's going to open past 100 million. But I think in the long run, legs and all, Incredibles 2 is going to beat that. And The Purge is going to do well, but as a horror movie does. It's not going to open 100 million, but it might have some legs over the summer if it's done well.
It was Adam Chitwood that wrote that article on Collider.com, where, again, it postulates that Jurassic Park or Jurassic World is better as a one-off than as a franchise, which I agree with. I mean, box office-wise, you're going to want to make more of these movies because they do so well.
They've already dated the third movie, which is interesting.
We're setting up something here where it's not just the dinosaurs getting loose in the park. It's now they're already loose. We have to rescue the cute and cuddly ones, and we're going to be afraid of some of the bigger ones, and we also have the militarization of raptors, which we're concerned about. So a whole lot of stuff going into this movie. I don't think it's going to get near that $200 million mark that the first one did.
No.
And I'll also say this for Incredibles. Now, that came out way back at the end of 2004. $70 million opening weekend, a huge weekend, especially at the time for Pixar. Incredibles 2 might have problems opening up at the same level that Jurassic World 2 Fallen Kingdom is. So Jurassic World might have a bigger opening weekend than Incredibles 2. I think Incredibles 2 is going to have fantastic legs. I think it's going to be jogging for a while.
Yeah, I agree. And you say the $7 million, but that's not adjusted for inflation, so it could be even higher, depending on the situation. So, and I think with people here, I think people are going to go way more to see Incredibles 2, and also because it's a family film. And I know Jurassic World, you could say it's a family film, but some people don't want to take their small kids to see dinosaurs eating other dinosaurs, those kinds of things. I think that's going to factor in. I do think also that Jurassic World, the trailers have not been exciting to even hardcore fans. Even Perry Nemiroff has to begrudgingly admit at times that those trailers don't quite get there. As much as she hates saying anything negative about anything, she had a hard time saying it that the trailers didn't quite get there. So I don't see many people who are Jurassic World fans who are enjoying the trailers, and that does not speak well to me that there's going to be a big opening weekend. I think it's going to be just like the second film in the first Jurassic Park attempt, the first trilogy. It's not going to do as well. It's not going to do as much money. It's not going to be there. And I think people are pushing back against this because what Mark said is absolutely right. What Adam Chitwood says is absolutely right. You're repeating the same beats over and over and over again. And eventually the fans go, how stupid is this world that they keep trying to do this? How stupid is this world? They keep trying to make these dinosaurs. It makes no sense. Whereas Incredibles 2, people have been waiting for it. And if it's great, people are going to go multiple times. Like we said, drop your kids off, let them watch while you shop the mall. It's the great.
I will say this about Incredibles 2, though. Finding Dory opened gangbusters.
Yeah.
135 million.
Thank you. And that was years after the fact of Finding Nemo, which I would argue doesn't have as beloved culture behind the franchise. Like Incredibles, everybody's like, oh my God, I want to see. That deserved a sequel. When you're saying Finding Nemo, you don't necessarily go to a sequel. So I think Incredibles 2 can go above 100 million.
If I was, I hesitate to give a counter argument, but just for the sake of having fun, like I think The Incredibles is a different vibe. I know they're both animated Pixar movies. It's a different vibe than like babies love Finding Nemo. Like literally, you're fresh out of the womb, day one, and you're like, oh, that's a cute fish. I want to see more of that in the theater. So it's a different vibe than Incredibles 2, but I think Incredibles 2 is going to open huge. I just think it's going to compete with Jurassic World. I'm actually going to say Incredibles 2, maybe around 140, 150. And I'm going to say Jurassic World 115, 120.
Yeah.
Rocha?
I absolutely agree with you. I was thinking the same thing. 120 for Jurassic World, absolutely, and 150 for Incredibles 2. That's what feels right to me. So that's all I can say.
And then as far as the overall winner of the month,
the overall
once
winner
it's
of the
all
month, I think it's
tallied up.
Incredibles 2. I think it is Incredibles 2. I think because it'll have longer legs, and I think people are going into Jurassic World with trepidation, the sequel going in with trepidation, and if they see that it's not good, they're not going to go back and see it multiple times. And, and they're going to tell people not to go.
I'm a little hesitant to crown Incredibles 2 over Jurassic World. Riley, which way are you leaning on this?
What, in box office or
The
was like
overall domestic cume. So once it's all said and done, who's
for
winning?
Jurassic? Oh, it's Incredibles 2. It's going to win overall. I think to go from all the history that we brought up, the second movie in the Jurassic Park franchise did a little bit under.
Yeah.
And the biggest point that I loved from Chitwood's article is that the seeing the dinosaurs on screen for the first time is no longer a surprise to us. We have seen it. We're going to see trailers and all this. So the shock and awe is over. You got to hang with the story. Whereas Incredibles does so well with heart and Brad Bird being back, that's going to sustain multiple viewings because you're going to go back and want to see it and emotionally connected. So it's Incredibles 2 that's going to have the longer legs. I think it's going to definitely beat Jurassic World Part 2.
Yeah, I'm slightly going Incredibles 2, but it's close because I don't think Fallen Kingdom's going to do as well as the first one, so that's going to come down from its over 600 million take at the box office, and then I think that Finding Dory made almost 500 million, so I think that Incredibles 2 is going to go above that. Quickly in June, a couple smaller movies that we haven't mentioned yet. I wanted to highlight Hereditary, which is a horror movie that's getting a lot of buzz coming out of festivals, starring Toni Collette. People are saying it's a horrifically scary movie.
Yes.
Very excited for that one. Uncle Drew is coming out against Sicario the last weekend in June, and that is certainly one that is on my wish list to go see.
I think Uncle Drew is going to surprise all of us.
I hope so.
I think it will. I think it'll open big. I mean, not 100 million big, but I think it's going to be one of those shocking movies where it's going to land maybe number 2 behind The Incredibles or Fallen Kingdom and being like, what? And because there's an audience for this. People want to see it and have fun. I mean, the NBA is huge. It's never been as popular. So we're going to see a lot of the great oldies but goodies coming back into Uncle Drew and playing along.
Yeah, and I think it'll be right around the NBA Finals if I'm not wrong.
I think it's going to be a couple weeks after the
finals.
finals.
After the finals.
So people still want to kind of go. I think they'll still be in the NBA.
The finals going to have a ton
mindset.
of marketing.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah.
will. Yes, it will. So people will go. And
It's gonna be primed.
I think it's going to be good, and I think it'll be a surprisingly good film and it'll do surprisingly well at the box office. And I do want to give a little love to Sicario too, because that first film is still one of my favorites of that year. And so to see it coming out, a sequel, and this looks even more This, if I can, for lack of a better term, it looks even more gangster than the first film. That shot of him in that first trailer when he's whipping the shots like that. But then if you see the second trailer, it feels very Logan-ish with this girl that he has to defend and has to protect. And this time he's going up against Brolin. So there's a lot here that I really think if they do it right, people will absolutely love this film and talk about it for years to come.
The real question with Uncle Drew is Kyrie Irving going to be too busy to promote the movie because he's going to be playing, or is he already going to be relaxing and free to say, hey, go see my movie Uncle Drew, now back to the NBA Finals. We'll actually be playing in the NBA Finals. I think
not with that knee.
I think the Cavs are probably gonna. I think the Cavs are probably still going. But Raptors, best of luck. I'm pulling for you. Love you, Drake. We move on to July, and as we already mentioned, The Purge is coming out the first Wednesday of July because it is Independence Day, July 4th. Then we have Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out that Friday. Then as we go to our next grouping of movies, we're going to see the rest of the July calendar. That includes Hotel Transylvania Part 3 and Skyscraper, both opening July 13th, followed by The Equalizer 2 on July 20th. And Mamma Mia is the same day as Equalizer 2. Very different audiences. I think that could be a competitive weekend. Let's start there. So Mamma Mia versus Equalizer 2. Which one wins the weekend?
Mamma Mia.
Equalizer 2.
I think Mamma Mia. Here we go again. I think it actually has a shot at beating Equalizer 2 because Equalizer 2 should be R-rated. So that's going to maybe take a little bit of the box office away. It's not a huge property where I thought the Equalizer reboot with Denzel, with Antoine Fuqua directing was a great movie. Didn't need a sequel.
I wanted a sequel.
Okay, you're getting it. They listened to you, Mark Ellis. Yeah. But Mamma Mia, again, now to go to the other side of the Moms Club, this is when they get their friends. This is when they go, listen, we are going opening weekend to Mamma Mia 2, and it's a little bit more broad where we can bring in their kids with them. You get your musical lovers, so Miss Movies is probably already lined up. And there's going to be a lot of people that like that, so I think it'll edge out Equalizer 2.
Okay, well, Equalizer edged out Mamma Mia at the first run. I mean,
It
they
did.
came out at different times, obviously, different weekends. I think Equalizer had less competition because Mamma Mia came out the same weekend as The Dark Knight, I believe. But still managed to pull in $27 million opening weekend, Equalizer 34. However, Mamma Mia did beat the Equalizer at the overall gross, 144 to 100. Equalizer did do over 100, though. So I think there's more clamor for that sequel than Mamma Mia. But again, I'm more in the Equalizer world than I am.
Don't get me wrong, I am too.
Mamma
I don't
Mia?
like the Mamma Mia revisiting the sequel. I just went, oh God, it means I'm gonna have to see it sometime, I bet. So yeah, but based on those numbers, I like my odds of Mamma Mia beating it because it's not against too many other movies.
But Rocha's saying Equalizer?
Yeah, I'm saying Equalizer 2. I want to see a trailer. If the trailer comes out and it is kick-ass, then I think it's summer, right? So people want to go and see summer action movies. And I think this Equalizer 2 can be that. Denzel still carries weight for a lot of people, and this role was fantastic. Fuqua did a great job directing the film. If you remember the old TV show, so it's nice to see him kind of jumping into this role. And I think Denzel he's such a great badass, and when you put him in the right film, people will go en masse to see it. Now, it may be a situation where you drop the wife and the kids off in Mamma Mia and you run off to Equalizer, so maybe the balance won't be there.
You're in the bathroom for 2 hours.
You take the boys or whatever. But and we'll see. But I don't know what the thing is for Mamma Mia. Like do we want to see a sequel? Do we want a musical? Like Greatest Showman only opened to 9 or 10, and yes, it has a great run, and I love the movie, absolutely support it. But it only opened to 9 or 10, so we'll see what Mamma Mia will do, and that's Christmas.
Here's the thing, though, is that I think that there's action movie fans like me that are willing to pay to see each action movie that opens week after week after week. Musical fans might be that, but they don't get musicals as often. So I think every musical fan that wants to see something is going to go see Mamma Mia. Whereas with action fans, you could go see Equalizer 2 because Denzel's great. If there's two bigger stars than Denzel, their names might be The Rock and Tom Cruise, who have movies opening, bookending The Equalizer 2. Skyscraper versus Hotel Transylvania 3.
Yeah.
That's another one where you drop the kids off one place, you go see another movie. Which one's taking that weekend?
I think Skyscraper is going to take that weekend, but I think it all depends on how Rampage does. Because coming out of Jumanji almost hit $1 billion worldwide, and that's incredible. So if Rampage is well received, numbers are high, everything is great, then I think there's no reason Skyscraper won't destroy as well, and then it'll just be another thing in the another peg in The Rock's climb to ultimate stardom. And so to me, the trailer looks great, looks like a lot of fun. It's definitely a Rock vehicle. It's ridiculous him jumping off that thing at the size that he is and being able to hit that building from where he's jumping from. But that's what you go see these old school films on. They're real reminiscent of those old 80s Schwarzenegger, Stallone vehicles, right? And The Rock knows what he's doing. He's got that smirk. He's got that humor. He's a combo of both those guys, which really works for me. So I think it's going to blow it away. I think people love The Rock and they want to go see him.
Yeah, maybe it's like Commando where he finds a Dick's Sporting Goods that sell bazookas. Riley, do you think that Skyscraper is going to defeat Hotel Transylvania 3? Because that's a pretty established franchise as being a moneymaker.
Yeah, it's a big franchise. The only thing I think to give Skyscraper the edge is because it's the third chapter in the Hotel Transylvania. So I think it's going to just be it's going to be a little under all the other ones. But at the same point, I wouldn't be surprised if Hotel Transylvania, and you're putting them on a boat now. They're on vacation.
Yeah.
So you're
I
gonna
love
see,
that trailer, too.
The trailer's actually kind of funny, and I have a little bit of a sweet spot for these movies because I never caught them in theaters, but I caught them at home, and I'm sitting there giggling, going, they're not that bad. I kind of like these. You know, I had fun. And so I think a lot of people will go out and see it with the kids. So it might edge out Skyscraper, but because it's the third, I'm going to give the edge to The Rock because you can't bet against him, and I think Skyscraper will take ultimately, but they might be tight. I think we're talking like a 45 million versus 40 million opening.
Yeah, as I continue to backpedal my way into the beginning of July, I think we know Ant-Man is probably going to have a bigger overall gross than what you're going to see with The Purge, but I think the first Purge is going to do very well. They're clearly marketing it a certain way, and they're being very political with how they market it, as you see from that poster. You know, would it make The Purge great again, or the first Purge, whatever it says. So I think it's going to do well, but I think Ant-Man is the one to keep your eye on. What can we expect from that movie? Because I'll remind you guys, the first one came out, much to Josh McCougar's chagrin, because he liked the movie, but he made a famous bet on Schmoes that it was going to make under $40 million, and I think Christian made him eat a shoe in Chile. I can't remember what the bet was, but it ended up doing $180 million. I think it's going to do better in both regards. I think it's going to do well over $60 million. I think it's going to gross probably domestically over $200 million when it's all said and done.
Yeah, here's the thing I'm wondering about Ant-Man. He is like absent from all of the Infinity War marketing, including Wasp. So we're not getting any looks at Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Well, we might be.
Well,
we might be seeing him and not knowing
and that's where I'm going. We don't have any Ant-Man and the Wasp in the marketing for Infinity War, but conceivably they're in the movie. So there you go. And it's Marvel. So I really can't go further than that point other than, yeah, it's gonna open big. 100 million? I'm wondering, can Ant-Man and the Wasp open to 100 million? I go back to Thor because Thor was always like coming off the Dark World, didn't do too well. Critically too, is like one of Marvel's worst movies. But then you started to see Thor Ragnarok and the trailers for that thing kicked into high gear, and then that thing opened over 100 million. If Ant-Man and the Wasp starts to coming off of the high of Infinity War, and we get some great trailers that show the tone, then I think Ant-Man and the Wasp, we're all fine here. How are you?
It's going to be interesting to see how it does, because I don't think it's going to be anywhere near Black Panther numbers or anywhere near Infinity War numbers. But Infinity War is going to set up probably the storyline in that film. And Evangeline Lilly has already said that Wasp is not in this film. She's going to be in 4 because they're going to showcase her in the Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's the first time you're going to really see her do all the stuff that she's doing. I don't know if we're going to see Ant-Man. From all the indications seem like we're not going to see him till 4. Same thing with Hawkeye. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this performs, because this is one of their lesser IPs, right? They're still successful, still good film, Ant-Man, and it's an enjoyable film, but this is a lesser brand name recognition IP. So I think it's not going to make, I think it's going to make the maybe 200 million total overall, 250 maybe, but I don't think it'll blow the doors off the box office or anything. And I think that's where it belongs. It's almost like the independent film in the Marvel universe, which I enjoy. The art house film.
You don't think we're going to see Hawkeye in in
No,
Infinity War?
I think we're gonna. I don't think no.
Something's
We're gonna see
weird there.
We're gonna see Ronan in 4, which is what Hawkeye becomes, but we're not gonna see him in.
You gotta see a little bit of Hawkeye in there. Just let us all feel like we could be a superhero.
Oh, sure, but
he's our gateway to. He's the gateway drug to becoming a superhero.
If you read the prequel comic, which is out now, Hawkeye goes home. He quits.
Okay, what if I don't do that?
Okay, fair. Then
What if I just go off of Black
Then you're
Panther
just setting yourself
and
up
then I just go
for
right into Infinity War, try to enjoy that movie. I just want to. There's too. You're making too many movies to get me to read now. There's too many great movies, as we're talking about here today. So we put all those movies in July up against the movie that kicks off our last grouping for the breadwinner of the month. That would be Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Fallout. That is the last movie in July, and then we will talk about the Christopher Robin movie, The Meg, which is going to be the best movie ever, and then Slender Man, closing us out with the last month of the summer for all you kids out there, and that is August. So, Mission Impossible Fallout or any other movie in July, what's taking the top grossing spot at the domestic box?
It's not even a question. Mission Impossible Fallout's going to do it. I think Tom Cruise and those last 2 films have been very, very well received.
Yeah.
Rogue Nation, and I forget what the other one is called, and they're all received.
Ghost Protocol, man.
That's right. They're all really well received and did good box office, good numbers, and great casting, and the storylines have played through. And it looks like in this one, Michelle Monaghan is coming back, who was introduced in the third one as his wife, right? They get married. So there's a lot here that I think people want to go. And of course, Henry Cavill, once again, casting another great villain in this film, or looks to be possibly a villain in this film. And you have Rebecca.
He's not a villain,
Well, I
is
don't
he?
know. I don't
He
know.
can't be a
And
villain.
Rebecca
Just
Ferguson
because he has a
coming-
mustache doesn't mean he's a villain.
He's twirling it. Come here, Ethan.
Ethan Hunt, I will get you.
And then you have Rebecca Ferguson coming back, who was really good in the last Mission Impossible film. So I think a lot of people are excited for this one. And they were smart to put it at the end of July. Let The Rock have Rampage, July 4th weekend, Will Smith, technical weekend, then move Tom Cruise to where he's going to kill all of August and make that money and wrap up the summer in a good way.
All right, well, here's something interesting to note, Riley, is that the Hotel Transylvania movies are trending upwards with their sequels.
Hey,
And
there we go.
Mission Impossible slightly down.
Oh,
How dare you?
Because Ghost Protocol, there were great stunts in Rogue Nation, and there was a lot of fun, eye-candy to see. Nothing sold that movie as well as Tom Cruise on the tallest building in the world by himself did for Ghost Protocol. That's why so many people wanted to go see that movie, because this nutbar has just climbed to this huge building and he's just hanging off it. I don't know you're ever going to get something like that because Tom Cruise has just done it so many times.
He was hanging off a plane.
He was hanging off a plane, but we also know he injured himself pretty bad.
Yeah,
and I wonder if that actually is an attraction, which is a morbid kind of thing to say, but it's like that clip is in the movie, apparently.
Yes.
So maybe people want to go see it for that reason. Is it enough to get it past Dracula and his buddies?
That's tough. You've brought up the facts. That is,
And it's going up against Skyscraper and The Equalizer 2, the 2 previous weeks. So I just think it's going to have a tougher road to hoe than Rocha thinks.
Yes, I agree with that. I don't think it's going to do as well as maybe you think, Rocha. As much as I agree with you in the fact that I enjoy the stories, I like that they're bringing Michelle Monaghan back. Rebecca Ferguson bringing her back was a great move to see the continuation of this crew.
And Simon Pegg. And
well,
Ving
of course,
Rhames.
and Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg and all that, and Christopher
Nobody's
McQuarrie
lining
back.
up, though. They're not like, oh, man, now I need to see this movie because Michelle Monaghan and Ving Rhames and Simon Pegg are back.
There's
Like,
not this through line of a story that is...
I like them in the movie. I'm just saying.
We're not following along like we are with the Star Wars and the Marvels and I hate bringing that up, but those are movies you have to see to then see the next movie. These kind of exist as like great action movies that you can kind of jump right into if you hadn't seen the last one. But because of all the stuff you're talking about, he did break his ankle in the shot. I think if anything, the Mission Impossible brand is what people are going to turn out for. So I still think Mission Impossible will be the winner over these other movies, but very slightly.
This is the American James Bond, though, man.
Of course it is,
We just had 4 films where Vesper Lind was all through 4 of those films. Eva Green, and she was only in the first one. So in the Casino, so like this does happen, and this is happening with Monaghan, and people go back for the stories.
Yeah.
People don't just go to see things blow up. Damn it.
May have been trolling you a little bit because I don't think Hotel Transylvania is going to do as well as the other previous iteration. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll make its money, but I think Mission Impossible is going to be the winner of the month. But look, anything can happen with Skyscraper.
True.
Like that movie come out and it could be great, or it could just be one of those ones that's like, oh yeah, The Rock was also in Baywatch. We don't really talk about it at Thanksgiving. So I'm going to say Mission Impossible, but anything is possible. Plus, Ant-Man and the Wasp might be that one. So now that I say that,
It's hard.
I'm going Ant-Man and the Wasp. I just think the Marvel backing is too much. That's going to give it that extra boost to get past it. But that's the one that we're going to come back and watch this vid 6 months from now.
Yeah.
And that's maybe what we do the steak dinner on. So when we move to August, as we mentioned, we got Christopher Robin, The Meg, then Slender Man are some of the bigger releases. Any of those sticking out to you as far as this is going to be the movie that could steal the entire summer? Who wants to take The Meg with me?
Steal the entire summer?
No, it's gonna be. It's not gonna outgross Infinity War,
right?
But I'm just saying, like, it's gonna be. Oh, hey, I didn't anticipate that movie being as good as it was, like the giant shark movie.
I will jump in to this shark-infested Meg waters with you. Both
knew I
feet
could
first.
count on you.
Absolutely, I can't wait. And there is nothing more than I hope.
Look at that! Look at that fin.
That this Meg movie just surprises all of us. However, we lost a great director, in my opinion, in Eli Roth. He should have directed this movie. He wanted to make a hard R-rated movie. He wanted to make it bloody. You need to do that. I read the book. And then instead, he moved on. He made Death Wish. We know how that turned out.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead we got Turtle Top, I believe.
Yeah, I did the National Treasures, man.
And my point exactly.
No, I would rather have National Treasure than Eli Roth, who's just going to do up close of bloody water for 2 hours. I don't want to see torture porn in my shark movie. I want to see a scary shark. I want to have a fun adventure with it. Turtle Top's the right guy. Throw Nicolas Cage in there.
No,
you can't put.
I can't go there. I mean, as much as National Treasure is a great, they're fun. They're fun movies. When was the last National Treasure movie we've had? When's the last Turtle Top movie that we've had?
The Sorcerer's Apprentice.
And I mean, as much as I want to see Statham punch a giant prehistoric shark in the nose, but there's some great stuff that happened in the book that have horror elements to it that we're going to gloss over because we lost Eli Roth, in my opinion.
You book people are going to do this to me with the Meg.
But then again, there are two words here: giant shark.
Hey-o.
Thank you.
47 meters down shocked a lot of people, being as good as it was, and also kind of being one of the most successful independent movies of all time, getting a sequel. You'd then double, triple, quadruple the size of that one shark. People are going to want to see a giant prehistoric shark eating people. So Meg's going to do well. I don't think it's going to do crazy numbers. I don't know. I really don't know. God, this is a tough one.
Yeah, so Turtle Top did The Sorcerer's Apprentice in 2010.
Oh, yeah.
And then he did Las Vegas in 2013, which of course lends itself to a shark movie.
Collider fans, as the only rational person on this panel, these two are insane. And
$300 million.
The movie is gonna. If the movie breaks 10 million opening weekend, I'll be surprised.
Oh, it's doing better than 10 million. Come on.
Stupid prehistoric shark movie.
This movie's gonna do
What is the tone?
$25 million opening weekend.
I see both your points.
Maybe 12.
Let me be, since
Nobody
I am.
wants to see a megalodon shark movie. This side of Sharknado.
How dare
son.
you, sir?
This side of Sharknado, son. Nobody wants to see that. And Sharknado's full of Tara Reid.
This is going to be such a better franchise than Sharknado.
Yes.
Franchise?
You're going to see Jason. It's going to do well enough to warrant a franchise.
You're
Jason
both
Statham is going to
insane.
karate kick a giant shark.
There is a successful book series of this giant shark.
Yeah.
The Meg.
A book series.
Yeah. Trench. There's this other one. And there's this other one.
The reef, and then
but
coral.
There's a lot of books.
Yeah.
Okay, here, let me start it here. We got to see the tone of this thing. If it's cheesy, if this is
Of course it's going to be cheesy.
But that's the thing. If it's not, if we get some horror elements, if they look to the granddaddy of them all in Jaws and go, okay, we know how to make a shark movie work, right? We do. We have Jaws out there. But if we can just hone in on those horror elements, pull Jason Statham back a bit, I think this could be repeat viewing.
I think you're
But
right.
I'm falling on your line here, Rocha.
Thank you.
Okay? It might be too cheesy, and we might get a $10 million opening and it'll disappear because it's going to be, it could be either ridiculous and work or really, really cool and tense and work, or it can fall apart.
And what you're asking for, you're not going to get out of John Turtletop. You're
No.
just not.
That's
You're not
what
going to get
worries
out
me
of
the
Mr.
most.
Swords. Las Vegas is about old people going to Vegas one more time.
It was a good movie. It was a good movie.
It was not a good movie.
It was a
It was
pleasantly
ridiculous.
good movie. Kevin Kline had great lines in
Did
that
you like
movie.
Going in Style as well, the remake?
I did like Going in Style.
Stop it.
I watched it on a plane. I found it delightful. Look, I'll say this about The Meg, is that it does need to take itself seriously to a point where I might be painting myself into a corner with my argument here, but go back and watch Jaws the Revenge, okay? Because Jaws the Revenge
stop it.
took
Stop
itself
it. Stop it.
seriously.
Stop it.
Everybody there committed to the role. There was a shark that had ESP.
Not with Van Peebles' Jamaican accent, they didn't.
It swam all the way to waters that normal great white sharks, you're not going to see them because it wanted to get revenge on the Brody family. But all that going on underwater, and you could get into. That's what I want from The Meg. Just be Jaws the Revenge. I'm not asking for too
That
much
is
here.
bad. Dude, you realize what you're saying.
Just
I
be
will
Jaws
never
the
forget
Revenge.
watching the trailer of Jaws the Revenge come out, and then it went silent, and one guy in the back couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
Because it went, this time, it's personal. A shark? Personal? So anyways, for
You
you
may
to
want to
bring
see
up...
if the guy laughing in the back of the
I
theater
would-
was Max Cady.
I will take Jaws 2. Like, I want The Meg to be at least as good as Jaws 2. Because Jaws the Revenge is awful, and Jaws 3 is...
The Shallows is good. That's a good shark
Yeah, The
movie.
Shallows is
I like
pretty
The
good.
Shallows, and I surprisingly enjoyed that movie. I don't think this is going to be that. Yeah, it's supposed to be fun. Jesus, Jason Statham, blah, 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 blah. But, like, this is Jason Statham going back to old stuff. Like, he used to do vehicles. He shouldn't be doing this stuff anymore.
All right,
I don't know
then
why.
put
he's doing
that
it.
movie against Slender Man, which comes out August 24th.
That's
Well,
an
it's a
interesting
horror.
one. Yeah,
It's a horror movie.
It's a horror
It's
movie.
A horror
but
movie,
it's-
but Slender Man, like Slender Man is
That's
on the
scary
brain with
stuff.
people right now.
Yeah.
So that could do very well.
It could.
And you get a little bit closer to your, scary kind of movie release date getting into the Halloween season. So I think Slender Man could do very well. That could be a shock. And I'll even say I think it might do better than the Meg opening weekend.
Yeah.
What's going to take the entire month of August for you, gentlemen?
Oh, well, what do we have
Because
again?
you got Goodbye Christopher Robin versus The Spy Who Dumped Me.
Yeah.
It's a broad comedy. People might want to see that.
I mean, say what you will. I think The Spy Who Dumped Me, if it hits and is one of those like Game Night came out and kind of surprised people. You mentioned Tag. There are certain movies that can come out and dominate the box office. I think of The Hangover really is the last big comedy. Is it R-rated? That's what I want to know about The Spy Who Dumped Me.
The Spy Who Dumped Me, I don't believe is rated yet.
Okay.
There is a Melissa McCarthy, Maya Rudolph movie. It's more of a thriller vibe that might be coming out in August as well. They haven't set that release date in stone just yet, so that could be a contender.
Yeah.
But barring a rating, Rocha, are you still would you take Slender Man over any of those movies? Or Goodbye Christopher Robin could be the family movie. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but
then,
then-
you can't. Yeah, it's Disney, and they're making. It's not a remake, but it's a reimagining. It's picking up after Winnie the Pooh, so we're going to get that Disney flavor and that Disney.
you
look.
get to see Pooh Bear in
Yeah.
the damn trailer.
It got me.
Yeah.
You and McGregor.
And Ewan McGregor.
Yeah,
So
it's a
if
good
it does
stuff.
well, and if there's a lot of heart to it, I think Christopher Robin has the best chance to be the winner for August.
Thanks, Rocha.
Slender Man. Slender Man might be in there. I know you're supposed to talk. I totally interrupted you, but I got on my high horse.
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
I know when you're on a high horse, I always have to be like, okay. Whenever he's done,
Rocha upset that somebody interrupted him. I'm going to make a note that
love
actually
it.
happened on the show.
somebody put a date and time. No, everything Riley said.
Look at that bear! Look at
Everything
that
Riley
bear
said.
right
I
there.
know. So I think it's going to be actually really moving in a way that one that came out with Domino Gleason isn't going to be. And I think this is actually nice because this is going to be kind of like, this is going to be interesting to see how this does because when you have the Mary Poppins movie coming out as well, both these movies have the same kind of vibe of going back to old material,
Yeah.
reviving it, and then going back to it as an older adult, seeing almost like that Hook vibe as well. So I like this idea that Christopher Robin could succeed, could surprise a lot of people and do well. And I think it has a good cast to do that with. So, yeah.
I love Winnie the Pooh. I grew up with Winnie the Pooh. I hope that shark rips that goddamn bear to shreds the next weekend. But I do think Christopher Robin is going to be the breadwinner for August.
Yeah.
I don't think any of these movies that we're talking about are going to compete with the ultimate summer champion, which, again, if we shoehorn April 27th into the beginning of May, is going to be Infinity War. Anybody want to lob some real fire against that scarecrow?
Nah.
No, it's impossible
Yeah.
to really bet against that thing. Infinity War is going to be the winner all summer.
Yeah.
I
It might
appreciate
become
you
one of the
guys
highest
saying
of all
that.
time.
Yeah, I'm known for saying crazy stuff. Certainly won't go. There's some things you just can't deny.
Yeah, well, you said some crazy stuff about Infinity War. $300 million, I say no. Overall box office champ of the summer. I do say a hearty yay. And that is our show for today. I want to thank John Rocha and Mark Reilly for joining us here at the table. We'll see you guys tomorrow for a brand new live episode of Collider Movie Talk. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.